Okay, and welcome to this Technovation Webinar 3. This is the first of 3 webinars about App Inventor. Today's objectives, we will talk about how to access App Inventor, how to log in. Then we will familiarize ourselves with the interface and the various components that are available to us with App Inventor. The next thing we'll do is build a couple apps. We'll build a Hello World app just to kind of get used to the features of App Inventor and then also how to connect the device. And then we'll build a simple slideshow application. So App Inventor is pretty easy to use program. It's a platform developed by MIT and used what the goal of it is basically that you will be able to build an Android application without having to know how to write Java. So that's one of the reasons why we recommend it for use for Technovation, because it's very easy to get up and running. Students don't have to have any prior programming experience. And it's a great way to teach programming concepts because instead of writing actual code, it's based on a block-based system. So if you're familiar with things like Scratch, it's basically the same thing. Instead of typing out code, students drag blocks around. So it's very visual and easy way of programming. So to get started, if you go to appinventor.mit.edu, this is the website that has all the information about App Inventor. So here you have various resources about how to use App Inventor. There's tutorials, documentation, news, events about what the platform is. So if you have any questions or you get stuck on anything, something's not working, this is a great resource to go to. Also, you could just go to YouTube and search for App Inventor, and there's plenty of tutorials out there. So the first thing you'll need is a Gmail account, and you'll have to be logged into your Gmail account. If you don't have a Gmail account, you'll have to create one, because that's how you actually log into App Inventor. So once you're logged into your Gmail account, if you go to this button, Create Apps, this will take you to the actual App Inventor platform. The first time you do this, it'll ask you to authenticate with Gmail. Just hit OK. So we go to our projects. Here are my projects. This just will have a list of your projects. So to begin with, we're going to build a Hello World app. This is a traditional introduction to anything in programming. So to start a new project, we'll click the Start New Project button, and we'll pick our project name. Now, ideally you would go Hello World like this. However, App Inventor does not like spaces, so what we'll do is we'll put an underscore here. I'll just call this project Hello World. Hit OK. You see it shows up here in our projects list, and then it will launch this screen. So the first thing you see here is basically our user interface builder. There are App Inventor's kind of split up into two sections. One, the designer section, and then the second section is the blocks section. So if you click on blocks, it'll switch over, and blocks is where you will do all of your programming. So the first thing you want to take a look at is designer, because this is actually what the user interface will look like to your app users. And on the left-hand column, you have this palette, which has all the user interface components. So buttons, checkboxes, labels, text boxes, web viewer, layout, and we're going to show you how to use the most common of these elements. There's a lot here. We're not going to go into everything. However, I would encourage you to have your students play around with this and just explore and just see what they could do, because it's again, most of this is just a kind of a drag and drop interface. So the most common elements that you'll use in App Inventor are likely button, label, text box. Those are probably the three most common. In further tutorials, we'll talk about list view and some others, but for this application, we'll start out with text box, button, and label. So to begin with, let's drag out a label. We'll just drag that out onto the screen. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't allow you to edit this directly here. So what you have to do is go to the Properties tab. So if you look here on the right-hand side, the Properties allows you to change a number of well, properties on this element. So you could change the font size. We can increase that to 16. Let's see, that didn't too much, so let's bump it up quite a bit. So let's do 30, and you'll see that increases the font size. You could make the font bold. You could change the color of the font. A number of various attributes. So what we want is to change the text. So say hello world. The text updates there. So that's pretty basic. Now let's the next step is to actually essentially test this out on a device. And there's several different ways of connecting this application to test on a device. And you go into App Inventor's documentation, resources, documentation, and then this connect phone, tablet, or emulator. Click on that link, and it will give you the options for connecting to a device. Now, it says obviously the number one option here is recommended. The reason is that this is the easiest. The other two options have a couple different hurdles involved with them, but you want to start here. So for this to work, you need an actual Android device. So if you are an iOS user, unfortunately, App Inventor does not yet work with iOS, so you will have to use an emulator. However, what I've noticed is that most students in Ukraine have Android devices, so your team, you should be able to get away with using. If you don't have an iOS, if you don't have an Android device, one of your students will. So I recommend just trying to go this route. If not, then you could use the emulator instructions. So for this, I'll go back to our Hello World application here. And I'm going to pull up my Samsung phone. And I'm going to actually cast it here on the screen. So here you can see this is actually a mirror of an actual device that I'm holding in front of me. So in order to get the device running on your phone, first thing you'll need to do is go to the Google Play Store, and you will download this, let's see if I can, MIT AI2 Companion. So if you go to the Google Play Store, search for MIT AI2 Companion, download that application. That's what actually makes the connection between what you're doing in the browser here and your phone. So what I will do is launch MIT AI2 Companion on my device, and then you're going to go to Connect, and you're going to pick AI Companion. And what will happen is you will see a QR code. And on your device, if you launch the AI companion, you're going to click connect with, or actually scan QR code. Or you could type in this code as well. But I'm going to scan the QR code. This should then show up on my device. And actually all that does is QR code just types in that code and then pulls it up. So here you could see, actually what I'm going to do is this side by side here. So it's, let's see. So hello world, there we go. Now if I want to change that text again, I click on this label, say hello world or hello Jason, and you'll notice that this actually updates on the device. And so that's the benefit of connecting via the QR code, is that these two screens, as you're working on it, they're in sync. One thing to note is that in order for this to work, both your computer and your device have to be on the same Wi-Fi network. So that's key. If they're not, then this doesn't work, and you'll have to use some other methods. One of which is you could also do a build and say provide QR code for .apk. And what this will do is this will go out onto App Inventor's servers, build the application, and then it'll provide a QR code. So I'll demo that too. So if for whatever reason the the Connect AI companion here does not work, you could go to build and then provide QR code this way. And so I'll show you how that works. It's basically the same. However, things will not be in sync. So let me launch this. So I'm going to scan the QR code here. Oh, it went actually out to App Inventor's servers and tried to download this. Now, what you will get is this warning: install blocked for security reasons. So what you'll need to do is actually override this. So if I go to settings, lock, and you go to this unknown sources under security, allow installation of apps from sources other than the Play Store. You turn that on and allow this installation only, click OK, then you can install this. This will actually download the app and install it directly on the device. So the app was installed, open, and here we go. We see the same thing. Now, this is great. This works, and this will work in a pinch if you can't get the other method working. However, the issue here now is that this application is actually installed on the device, so it is not it's not mirroring what you see here. So for example, if I change this back to hello world, It'll update here. However, it will not update here because they're not communicating with each other. So what you essentially what you would have to do is go to build the APK file again, scan the QR code, download the app, and so the workflow for that is not, it's not ideal. It's not a fast iteration. So this is just a backup if the other method doesn't work. So again, if try to use the AI companion app and with connected on the same Wi-Fi network. That's going to be your best bet.